Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, today's a great day. Today, if you are a football fan, and I know you are, today is a great day because today is the first day of Longhorn football practice. Oh my gosh. We don't have to do all that stuff. We've just been talking about things and trying to talk about off-season stuff, and we have really done a good job trying to make sure that you've had good content throughout the entire off season. You do not know how difficult it is to come up with show ideas in May and June and July and everything like that when there's no football, but football is back. Cody Carpentier can attest to it because Cody's in the house. We've got a lot to discuss. We've got a lot to discuss because the Longhorn football team will absolutely hit the field today. We will have some media access today for us. And so I believe we get started around 2:45. So we will be out there in the afternoon heat. No complaining from us. No complaining from the out of shape, overweight, horrible looking media corps. It's horrible. Look horrible. Just I always think about if you did like a media combine and you just had all the Austin media participate, how pathetic that thing would look. Like if Cody would be the only person that actually looked good, like Alex would look pretty good. I would be all right, but I'd probably tap out after like 20 yards. I'd just pull a hamstring. Everybody else would be pretty damn bad. But I've got a lot to discuss. We got some coordinators that spoke yesterday, and if you missed football with friends, Alex and Cody talked about some of their highlights last night on the show. I'm going to have a chance to talk about some of my observations from the show. I'm going to take you guys behind the veil today because finally I can talk about the Orangebloods promo, even though I was a little bit early on that yesterday. I'm actually, for those of y'all who have never been on Orangebloods, I'm literally going to take you behind the veil. I'm going to show you the content that's on there. I'm going to take you behind the paywall so you guys can see. I'm going to show you one of Cody's articles from this morning. He had kind of a 5 players to watch thing, but I'm going to take you behind the veil as far as that is concerned to hopefully encourage you to sign up because I got a really good promo. And there's also the possibility, potentially, that Jeff Ketchum can join the show this morning. He's got some things that he's taking care of, so I can't necessarily say for sure it's going to happen. If it happens, great, fantastic, I'll take it. If not, he will definitely be back on the show at noon today. So Ketch is going to be here. So I got a lot of good things for you guys. I got a lot of good things for you guys planned. So do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Let me just retweet this real quick for my followers so they know I've gotten started. Give me 5 seconds to tweet something cool real quick. I know bad television at this moment. Talks amongst yourselves. Oh wait, I put out the wrong one. I didn't want that tweet. Damn it! What is this? What is this crap? Oh man. Now I gotta delete that. See what happens? See what happens, y'all? I tried to retweet it. Oh man, I didn't want to retweet that crap. What kind of gift was this? Well now it's stupid. If I get a chance, it's on orange. Wait, let me get on mine. Let me get on my retweets. Well, this is making it really bad, right? All right, let me delete this because this was crap. I thought it was the right get. All right, let me delete that. One more time. Give me 30 more seconds. Talks amongst yourselves. You're like, I need Alex back. Where's Alex? We need him back. All right, hold on one second. This one is what I wanted to do. All right, now we're good. All right, we're good. Hey, good morning to everybody who's here in the chat, by the way. Let me give a quick shout out to everybody before we get started. Big Tex first in the house. Cody is obviously here. Gabe Locks is in here. Jeffrey Dumas is here. Sark After Dark, of course. Anthony Audrey Puente is here. El Presidente, my main man, is in the house. Just another fragrance reviewer is in the house. That's my dude right there. Hope you're doing well, my man. Sark After Dark, Billy Bird, Rob from Wisconsin, Rodolfo is always good to see you. Mark Ruiz is in here. Look at all y'all piling in. BK817, Derek is in here. Chris, and of course, Derek, another Derek. Is there two Dereks in here? Good morning to you. No, one Derek. Good morning to you guys. All right. So Texas had the coordinator availability yesterday. We had a chance to sit down. I say sit down, stood up and talk to Kyle Flood. Had a chance to also have a conversation with Pete Kwiatkowski, and also had a chance to sit down and talk to Jeff Banks as well. Paul is in here, and Nate L. Nothing but love, man. That's what the L stands for, love. I got you, dog. It's good to see you. Nate is in here. Sandman is in here. It's good. All the crew's coming back. Like everybody's back. It's good to see y'all. It's good to see all the fellas, all the bros in here as well. So, and of course, all the ladies that are out there as well, not to exclude y'all. So I may hop around just a little bit. I'm going to go to something that stood out to me a little bit. I'm going to hop around on topics. So just stay with me on this one. Pete Kwiatkowski spoke yesterday. And it's very interesting because we've been having this conversation. And good morning to you, Jared, as well. We've been having this conversation about the interior of the defensive line, right? We've all been talking about it, right? And how do you replace T'Vondre Sweat and the Byron Murphy, right? Now, look, if you're a glass half full kind of guy, you tell yourself, you know what? Didn't really know a ton about Moro Jomo, Keandre Coburn. Look what happened. Going into last season, there really wasn't people talking about Byron Murphy and T'Vondre Sweat being drafted as high as they were. Then people were talking about them being draft picks, but not like top 15-ish kind of things. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have that kind of conversation. So if you want to go from a glass half full perspective, good morning to you, Mr. 512. If you want to go from a half full perspective, you can say to yourself, well, as relates to Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton, hey, they're kind of unknown commodities as well. Look what happened last year. I mean, maybe it could be just as good, right? You can tell yourself that. You can tell those kind of things. But then, I talked to Pete Kwiatkowski yesterday. He gets asked about the defensive line. And he did not invoke this confidence that I said, I'll come here today and slam it like Alex would do it and say to myself, well, slam the table, of course. No Diddy. But slam the table like Alex would do it, right? And say to myself, emphatically, I know for sure that this thing is going to happen with these guys. Let me tell you what he said. I was very interested. I'm going to hop around because he was asked, hey, did he have replacements for Murphy and Sweat? And his first sentence was, no, we've got guys, but it's tough to replace those two dudes. And I was like, love the honesty. Love the honesty. But that didn't make me say, oh, snap. Well, let me see what happens next. This thing is about to be on fire. He literally is like, no. But now you're tripping. You're tripping on all that. Now, this is what he also said. He goes, well, so how do you do it? Let me read what he said. He said, coach your tail off, and the guys whose opportunity arises have to keep working to get better. He said, now guys that are coming back, Vernon and AC, Vernon Broughton, Alfred Collins, played a lot of football, and they've gotten better. Goes very encouraged from a leadership standpoint and work ethic and all that, because they've done a really good, nice job from the end of the season through spring ball and then the summer working out. I think the strength staff has done a really good job because there's going to be a lot of new guys, new faces, and some of these are transfers, and then the young guys helping those guys come along. Okay, and then he also mentions, about the depth behind them. And he goes, I think our depth is going to be good. But this is what he also said. That one of the things that stood out to me, he goes, now, how productive they're going to be compared to what those guys bought last year, ? We'll find out. and so when he starts off, and again, I'm just nitpicking here, right? But when he starts off with like, no, we got some guys. And then when he starts talking about everybody else, he goes, how productive they're going to be compared to the guys last year. We'll find out. I don't know. That doesn't scream to me. That doesn't scream to me like, man, that's great. Hey, this is like me asking you, man, what you serving? What you gonna be serving for dinner? I'm gonna make some steak. Oh man, is that steak gonna be as good as the steak that you made the last time? I don't know. There's some steak. We'll find out. Excuse me? Do we need to order out? Like, what's going on? Good morning to you, Bob, by the way. Good morning to you, Eric Hart, as well. Y'all keep coming on in. Y'all got your name on the chat and on the screen. Make sure y'all share this with people. So there was my little bit of, so I have a little bit of concern about that position. Like, and I think we all do, right? I'm not the only one, right? You have a little concern. I would have loved to have heard Pete K say, we got some dudes. I would actually have loved it for him to have a little bit more of what we saw from Sark at SEC Media Days, right? With SEC Media Days, when Sark was like, deepest team that I've had, and how he feels good about certain things. And we heard other things. We'll talk about this, about how good they feel about like the wide receiver room and how deep they are in there, right? And so there's a thing. Now, I understand that every coach speaks differently. And so because every coach speaks differently and because it's honest and candor, he didn't say these guys aren't good or they're trash or anything. He didn't say anything like that. He just didn't say enough for me to walk away feeling like I won't have to keep my eye on that position for the first few weeks because there's a little bit of uncertainty there. So, and again, Alfred Collins, he's got the NFL body. People love him. The scouts love him. All these kind of things. Love, now that doesn't necessarily translate into first round pick, second round pick. They love the potential. That's probably a better way to say it. They love his potential. But what else he'll bring to the table, we shall see. So that was one. But I will say this from a positive standpoint. And again, we're going to get into some other things as well. But from a positive standpoint, I want everybody to just take a mental note today. Everybody just put this in your mental Rolodex, and we'll come back to it a little bit later. The praise that Pete K had for Jaylon Guilbeau yesterday was something that just could not be ignored. I talked about on multiple occasions. Cody could attest to this as well if he's in the chat. On multiple occasions, he talked about Guilbeau and talked about, here's a guy, that was injured previously, but they feel like he's getting back to where he once was. And I've heard that before. I've reported that before on Orangebloods. And again, I will take you behind the veil so you guys kind of see behind the curtain, I guess, what Orangebloods looks like, because I'm going to put everything on the screen. So you could put a visual to it. And so he talked about Jade is going to play some corner. Guilbeau's had an unbelievable, outstanding season. So he tried to say, so getting him back to where he's confident, to where he was his freshman year, starting to see that again, optimistic. He talked about the star position. And he goes, Guilbeau can step up. We can do some different things with Jade. So again, a lot of good things, a lot of positivity as relates to the Guilbeau conversation from yesterday. So if you're looking for some positivity, there is that there as well. If you're looking for more positivity, I've got something that always puts a smile on my face. I told you it was a possibility, but I said, hey, my man's got things to do. So if not, we're just going to keep rolling along. But I ain't going to keep the boss waiting, because Jeff Ketchum is here. He's back. I don't know if he's got the internet or not. We're about to find out. Jeff, do you have the internet? Oh, no, don't start like this.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I've been talking. I haven't heard you talk.
Well, because for like 5 seconds I wasn't there. The moment you said internet, like the internet went shaky. So I blame that completely on you.
Okay.
Give me just a second. Literally, as I'm coming on, my wife is asking me apparently a question that must go answered.
Okay.
So I'm going to go out and come right back in.
He's back, everybody. He is absolutely back. That if we got internet, we got the wife. All we need is dogs, and your bingo card is just about complete. So we'll get back to Jeff Ketchum in a second when he's there. Oh, okay. Jeff is back. Good morning, Jeff.
Is it?
Jeff, I wanted to do something today before we get too far down the rabbit hole, okay? I promise everybody this. We can either do this. I can do it now, or I can wait a little bit, like 15 or 20 minutes.
No, let's do it now. I don't even know what you're talking about, but let's not keep the people waiting.
All right, so we've got a promo on Orangebloods.com right now. That's today. Is effective today, right?
Yes.
You join Orangebloods today, and you get a free 60-day trial.
2 months on us.
2 months. Just, hey, how do you like whatever you want? Here you go, right? So you use that promo code JOINOB24. So you can scan that QR code if you need to, if you're at home watching or something to that effect. Some people always ask, well, what do I do if I'm watching on my phone? Just take a screenshot, and then you'll get on there a little bit later. But Jeff, so here's what I wanted to do before we're going to get back into all the topics. I wanted to show people behind the curtain, since it's a free promo. I want to show them what Orangebloods actually looks like, because I think it's so easy just to say, well, join Orangebloods. But do you know what Orangebloods it looks like? All right. So let me do this, Jeff. I'm going to put this on the screen. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, right? And let me take down the chat for a second to give everybody an understanding. And if you want to narrate this as far as well and jump in at any point, you can. So this is typically, if you're on Orangebloods, this is typically what you'll see. You'll see the front page, okay? Now, Cody Carpentier posted, actually, I posted under my name. Cody, I need to change that. Cody did this. Let me take you behind the veil, though, as far as what Orangebloods actually looks like. You go inside the 40 acres. This now takes you behind the paywall, because I want you guys to see what you're actually getting here. These sticky threads are things that we have written. So you have the 5 players to watch right there. You have the something by Catch here. You have the nuggets that I have here, college baseball, weekly recruiting thread, 321 by Jason Sukamel, right? I'll give you a little example of what Cody wrote today, right? This is what he posted this morning. This is what give you guys a little peek behind the veil. 5 players to watch during fall camp. Who is wide receiver 1? And Cody goes into his explanation of what Quinn Ewers is. He gives you the Jaylon Guilbeau breakdown here. He gives you Malik Agbo. He gives you Jordan Washington. And then he gives you Ryan Wingo. And then and he also links another story here. Then within there, we have all the comments that follow from our community. Everybody, and Cody, and here's the thing. Sometimes you want to talk to us. It is kind of hard because we can't respond to everything on the YouTube channel. Here, for instance, Cody is responding to everybody at, by the way, 7:30 in the morning, 7:29. He's over here responding to everybody who is commenting on there, who may have some questions, all these kind of things, right? So and I can go through the list of things that are here. Now, here's the other great part. If you go through the normal threads that are here, because you're like, oh, people just think, oh, it's just message board. It's just, okay, well, here's the other things here. These are the other topics that people are posting about that you can see. Now, this one should be interesting. What kind of dog lives in the toilet, Catch? Okay. You have people talking about the House of the Dragon season 2.
Hot D season 2.
Yes. People are talking about car lease return questions. We got a soccer thread that's got 29,000 people who are talking about the Olympic summer 2024 transfer season. I'm just showing you all the different topics.
Trust us, people. The football discussion will pick up.
So I just want people to see. People talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, all these other kind of things. There's tons of topics that are outside of the norm.
We have more activity and discussion by 8:30 in the morning than every other UT website in existence combined all day long. I mean, now for better or for worse, sometimes those discussions go off the rails. It's the burden of having tens of thousands of Texas fans on one site communicating about all things. But today, college football picks up again. The offseason is officially over. Later today, you will have content on the first day of practice. Alex will have content on the first day of practice. Jason will have content on the first day of practice. We're sending Sonny to take pictures of video and photos. That'll all be on the YouTube content as well. But, today's when we really start making our money. Today is the day where for the next 6 months, it's wall to wall. It's always wall to wall, but it's different when the football season kicks off, especially when there's a practice. So, take advantage of the free trial. Come check it out. Look, we're going to give you the entire month of August for free. You're going to get to see all of the preseason stuff, all of the coverage. Then you're going to get the first month of the season. So you'll get Colorado State and Michigan and all of the activities through the month of September. And then you can make a decision. You can make a decision and say, you know what? Not for me. I don't want to do it. But we're doing the 2-month free trial because we think after 2 months, you'll be locked and loaded and you'll want to go. And it's a deeper level of conversation probably than you get on the YouTube channel. It's more direct. You'll have access to us in ways that you don't even have on the YouTube channel. So, go check it out. We love you guys on the YouTube channel. We'd love for you to be on Orangebloods as well.
Okay, so let's go through this. I'll give you two options, Catch. You could either tell me what stood out to you overall from the coordinators yesterday, or we can talk about what stood out for you from each specific coordinator if you want to go to the top thing that stood out that each specific coordinator said. Which one would you like? Is there an overwhelming thought that's been burning inside of you?
Yeah, but let's not start there first. I've got like 25 things rolling around in my head. The one, though, that might be the most positive and maybe most inspiring for the team. Sorry, my eye's itching. And Cody talked about it in his 5 players to watch. The Jaylon Guilbeau discussion to me is really fascinating because it's really strange that a guy would emerge as a true freshman starter in his first game in the secondary. So if we go back to 2022, Jaylon Guilbeau is the starter at star in the first game of the season and not Jahdae Barrett.
Yeah.
Guilbeau gets hurt, and it feels like he's a forgotten man for 2 full seasons. He gets hurt. He's not a huge impact guy the rest of 2022. And then last year he has, I don't want to say a minuscule role, but it's kind of a minuscule role. It wasn't a big role on a team that played for a national championship. They go to the national semifinals. It's rare. Think about how guys like Jake Smith or Jordan Whittington or young guys that flash with big recruiting profiles that come in and they don't make impacts, and they were constantly, are they coming back from injury? Are they going to be okay? When are they coming back? And more times than not, we're left in a position where we're trying to temper enthusiasm because there's too much enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a rare case where there is a player on campus who is good enough to start as a true freshman in his first game, and then he's kind of been washed away. And I don't feel like there's been a lot of buzz. It's not like for the last 2 seasons there's been a bunch of people sitting around going, Anwar, what's up with Guilbeau? Tell me what's up with Guilbeau. Talk about Guilbeau. Where is Guilbeau? When's Guilbeau going to get on the field? There hasn't been a lot of that. But since the end of the spring, when Sarkisian was like, yo, Guilbeau might be a starter for us. He's really good. He's finally back to where he was pre-injury. And then we see Kwiatkowski talk about it yesterday that, if Guilbeau's 100%, and we think he is, then he affords us a lot of opportunities. It means that Barron might be able to play some corner, which suddenly there's an interesting Javion Cole, Jahdae Barron battle on the outside for a starting corner position. If Jaylon Guilbeau is truly ready to go, it's not a conversation that we have on a daily basis, but if Guilbeau should be a better player in 2024 than he was in 2022. Even though he's coming off of the injury, this is a young man now instead of a teenage player. If he's back, I think they think of him as a future NFL player. And dare I say, an upgrade of Jahdae Barron. Jahdae Barron is a guy that's making national lists for player of the year, which I think is kind of bananas, but nevertheless, he's a guy that's being talked about in that kind of discussion. His best position is the star position. It's where they've played him for most of his career. But it's where he was a backup when Guilbeau first arrived on the scene. If Guilbeau has truly reemerged as the guy they thought they were getting when they started him as a true freshman in 2022, it could be a tide that lifts all boats in that secondary. If he's starting in front of Jahdae Barron, it means they think he's better than Barron. And if it allows Barron to potentially play more corner on the outside, then it provides competition that might, one way or the other, improve that cornerback position. Either Javion Cole is just better than Barron, so he's the starter, or Barron's better than he is, and you're getting your 5 best players on the field in the secondary, where maybe if Guilbeau's not healthy and you're forced to play Barron at the star position, maybe you're more vulnerable elsewhere. But the Guilbeau piece of the puzzle potentially allows the Longhorns to do a couple of different things in the secondary. And considering that was the area of this team that probably held it back the most last year, that that had been a good secondary instead of one that ranked in the hundreds in pass defense. They've just been mediocre. They may play for a national championship last season. Maybe they're just good enough that they're able to get past Washington. The margins were so fine. They're throwing it into the end zone with seconds to go with a chance to advance to the national championship game. But what if they'd been just a little bit better back on the back end of the defense? They may be that now. And seeing Kwiatkowski's thoughts on Guilbeau was a reminder to me that they've got potentially a big-time player that we've not spent a lot of time talking about. And by we, I mean just the collective Texas Orangebloods, Texas Longhorn fan masses. And it could end up being a really pivotal piece of the 2024 puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely correct. And I think we saw last year, at some point, when Sark decided at something, Ryan Watts, this whole thing, like it cutting it as much as they want, we saw his playing time, start to decrease a little bit, right? Catch towards, the end of last season. And so, they've been looking to upgrade that position. And I feel like they've got a lot of the young guys that are in. Jahdae is probably the only carryover from the previous coaching staff. Now, they love Jahdae. He's got a fantastic personality. He's a great person. I think Alex has talked about from a nickel position, they like that for him as far as the NFL is concerned. But find yourself someone who loves you like this staff loves Guilbeau, because the fact that they keep talking about, like, man, this guy looks like he's back. He looks like he's that guy. He's that guy that they felt like he's healthy, all that. Like, you could see the love for him, and we started hearing it a little bit. I feel like we were reporting on this.
We were
in the spring. Like I feel like we're reporting on this in the spring. It's now that's why I get Orangebloods. Now it's you're hearing more about it though. It's kind of at that like echo point. Like oh my goodness, it's hard to ignore. Is that? Oh, I thought it was like I heard kids' music or something. I'm sorry, or ice cream truck, but it's something weird going on.
The trash truck in my neighborhood.
Oh, that's what it is.
Is going by. I've never had anybody hear outside noise like that before, but good to know on my way back. Maybe it's this new and improved internet. I don't know. But yeah, what you're hearing is the trash truck.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, I got some kid stuff in the back there. So I was like, did I have some things go off? So yeah, I think from a positivity standpoint, Catch, when you start, especially when you start looking at the secondary overall and all the guys that they have back there, knowing that they feel like they've got a guy with Guilbeau that will go with the Muhammads of the world. Like I said, you've got Barron that's there, and then you've got the Derek Williams, Makubas, like all these guys, Michael Taft, like who, I mean, he's still a baller. All those guys there. It should be a better secondary with him as a part of it. You're absolutely correct.
Well, and look, I can't stress this enough. There seems to be a sentiment that Guilbeau is just better than Barron. If he wasn't, he's just a backup. And Jahdae Barron is your star. And you've gone out and you've got Jaylon Cole to be potentially a walk-in starter at one of the cornerback positions. They've gone through the portal in the offseason in an effort to make the secondary better. Jahdae Barron is a guy that they think is one of their best players. It would be very simple to say, hey, man, we weren't even expecting Barron to be back in 2024. He could have gone off to the NFL, but he's the guy on the team of all of the position players that decided I'm going to go back for one more season. And they could say we've got one of the best. He's up for the Nagurski Award or whatever the hell it was yesterday that came out. And he could just be the starter there. And everything else, you feel like, well, look, Malik Muhammad's going to start at one of the at corners, your safeties, Makuba, Derek Williams, Jelani McDonald, Michael Taft. You've got a number of safeties you feel good about. It's like, okay, well, then you bring Jaylon Cole in and you think, okay, well, he and Gavin Holmes will battle for one of the corner spots. And it all just kind of makes sense. Except they keep telling us that they think Guilbeau changes things. Yeah. And Kwiatkowski did it yesterday. And to change things, for them to be essentially saying, look, Guilbeau could be the star. What they're saying in code, because you don't want to be insulting about it, is that Guilbeau's better than Barron. Otherwise, why are you messing with that? Why are you messing with an older player, an established player, one of the better nickel guys in the country? The idea that they this gives us a chance to play Barron on the outside really speaks to how much they like Guilbeau. And the thing that hearing
Catch, if you said, hey, real life terms, right? You're like, hey, I got Cody doing the same things as Anwar does. And if Cody steps up, like I could find some other things to do with Anwar. I'm like, hello?
Yes. If Jahdae Barron is up for national awards as a preseason candidate, but he might lose his job to Jaylon Guilbeau, what is it telling us about Jaylon Guilbeau? Look, Texas had one player, and I'm not saying that Jaylon Guilbeau is all SEC, but what I'm telling you is Texas had one player in the preseason all SEC first team. Jahdae Barron is one of the guys that's being recognized as an all SEC preseason player, but he's on the second team. The coaches are telling us he may not be the starter at the position that he's preseason all SEC at. So it is, to me, a big blinking sign that there is some thought about that they've got a little something in Jaylon Guilbeau that I just don't know that when we talk about Guilbeau, and, he could emerge as a starter and, he could change the things. What we're really saying is they may have an impact player that they didn't have a season ago, that in a perfect world, this guy would be coming into this season as a 3-year starter. They thought 2 years ago he was better than an older Jahdae Barron. That's a fact. He won the starting job. Barron was a backup to Guilbeau. But we just haven't seen Guilbeau. He's hurt for the rest of 2022. He's coming back from injury last year, and it took some time to get there. But there may be an improvement in the secondary personnel-wise that if Barron wasn't on campus, everybody would be like, oh, we're not going to miss anything because Guilbeau is there to fill the void. But Barron is on campus, and they're still telling us, he may end up being the starter, which would allow us. Now, I think we all expect Barron's going to play a lot in the star position. He will. But so is Guilbeau. And I think that there's a lot of things that was said yesterday, and I don't want to spend the entire time talking about Jaylon Guilbeau, but on the eve of practice, he's a complete wild card that can only improve this team in positive ways. If he's the guy they think he is, it potentially changes the landscape of the entire secondary in a good way. And I think, for a team that was really close to playing for a national championship a season ago, these types of fine margins going in your way in a positive, it's a great way to start camp. It is. There are very few teams in the country that have preseason All-Americans on their roster that might not be better than a younger player on the roster who's going to potentially take over that player's job. They keep telling us that Guilbeau is back, that he's a factor, that he might be the starter. And I just think that when they say those things, you and I have to do that thing where we're like, okay, well, they're saying this, so let's talk about what it means. And it potentially means a lot.
So there's another thing that stood out, Catch, for me from yesterday. And this is a positive, but ends up being a really interesting conversation as well. The receivers, Catch. And we've heard Sark say, hey, this is my deepest team that I've had in my 4 years here. But yesterday, coming out of the coordinators thing, the conversation was, Catch, that they have 9 guys who they expect to receive first and second team reps in training camp. Not 9 of them. By the way, if you're not in that 9, Catch, but God, because how many receivers do they have? Like 11 on scholarship guys?
Let me just double check, because I'm pretty sure they have 10. But in the event that I have that number wrong, I'm pulling it up on my computer right now. I'm double checking the scholarship board. They have 10.
Who's the guy? Who's the one guy that's left out at that point?
I'm guessing it's Freddie DeBose, who's still coming back from he and Parker Livingston are at the back of the wide receiver. Look, Sark told us in July, it's still July. I'm all thrown off by the fact that the team is practicing in July. It may be the last day of July, but it's still July. Sark showed up and said, look, man, we got 7 guys that are in the rotation. And he's talking about Bolden, Golden, Bond, Cook, Moore. He included Niblett, and we know Wingo's in that group. That's the 7 that he specifically spoke about. That leaves 3. Aaron Butler, who they really like, Freddie DeBose, and Parker Livingston. And they like all 3 of those guys, but I think Aaron Butler is probably the guy among those 3 true freshmen they like the most. This is lip service. Now, all that has to happen is that all 9 of those guys take a rep at some point with the second team, and then nobody's told, no lies have been told. But I think we're legitimately focused on 7. I think the number's really 6. Is Ryan Niblett look, and I'm in the fan club for Ryan Niblett. Nobody had Ryan Niblett ranked higher than I did. All the national services caught up with me, but I am the original Ryan Niblett truther. but he's behind DeAndre Moore, and I think DeAndre Moore is going to lose snaps in the slot to Isaiah Bond. So I don't know. I don't know how much of a factor Ryan. This is for me, before the season starts, the coach is doing everything they can to keep these guys from getting disenfranchised and leaving in December. That's all this is, because they're not going to play 9. They're not going to play 7. They're just not. It's not Steve Sarkisian's MO. And the idea that they would suddenly go from, well, we pretty much just play 3 to everybody gets to play. I just don't think it's going to go that way. I think Sarkisian was very honest. When he was at SEC Media Days, he said, look, these dudes ain't played in games. So a lot of this will be figured out. Colorado State, Michigan, that first month of September, which we're giving away for free over at orangebloods.com if you've never been on the website. In that month, I'm going to learn who my dudes are. And then I think the rotation shortens up. They figure out who their primary guys are. And I don't think those guys are coming off the field. But I think right now, I think if we go back to SEC Media Days and Sark says there's 7, the other 3 guys are like, what the fuck? What? There's only 10 on the roster. You're telling us there's 7 that matter right now. I guess I don't matter. So I think that's probably one of those things that after Sarkisian said it felt very benign at the time. Although I think we did make a joke about the 3 that were not included in the 7. Somebody notified one of the coaches or multiple coaches that they weren't happy. Like, why am I here? Now, the thing is, they can't transfer. The portal does not open up until December.
Yeah.
But I think this is their way of trying to keep these guys engaged. Because if you're Parker Livingston, Freddie DeBose, or maybe most important, and look, apologies to Parker Livingston and Freddie DeBose for framing them in a way that suggests that this is a season where they're likely not going to make an impact. I think Aaron Butler is in that group as well. But I think my gut tells me Livingston and DeBose are not going anywhere. They're not threats to transfer because they're not playing in the first 5 minutes of 2024. Aaron Butler is an out-of-state guy whose expectations are that he will play. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come to Texas. If you told him in December, yeah, man, you're going to be 8th on the depth chart when we go to practice in the summer, and you might just have to redshirt. I think that guy picks a different school. So one of the byproducts of having so many receivers that they like is they all can't play. And we will eventually get to a point where I think in the portal, Texas will have its version eventually of a guy like Adonai Mitchell who leaves. And what did Georgia fans say? They didn't say, oh, God, all hope is lost. That's not what their reaction was. But they were like, oh, shit, like that guy was going to be good for us. And he was probably going to be our best receiver or a starter at the very least. And we think he's an NFL guy. I think Texas will eventually have that problem, that guys that are 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 want and demand to be higher than that. But only 3 guys can be the top 3 guys. And only 1 guy can be the 4th guy. And at some point, the hierarchy at wide receiver, when you're that talented at wide receiver, and I expect Texas to always be really good at receiver under Sarkisian. I think they're trying to provide some lip service to the true freshmen that, hey, man, you guys matter and you've got a chance. And if you come in, you can absolutely be in the rotation. But realistically, I think we know what's what.
Yeah, I think you're right, Catch. And I think, if you're Sark, you just gotta tell guys, hey, just hold on. Injuries happen. I mean, we're talking about Jaylon Guilbeau right now, Catch. Arguably should be RB1, but Jaylon Guilbeau was like the 4th option, non-option for a lot of last year, right, Catch? I mean, there's games that Blue didn't get a touch. Like, just
Johnny Brooks doesn't tear his ACL. Jaylon Guilbeau probably transfers in the offseason.
Yes. right? I mean, I think that's fair to say. Certain things happen, and next thing you know, Jaylon Blue's getting touches. Now we're talking about Jaylon Blue as a potential draft pick, right? So yeah, you want to somehow keep these guys engaged, let them know like anything can happen. It's a long season, injuries happen, and keep building this in, right? Catch. It's a long season. You got to play a lot of guys. We're going to have to play a lot of guys early because injuries are going to occur. And that's a way to kind of keep people still kind of into it, still kind of engaged, still kind of, hey, waiting your time, waiting your moment. But we do know, like, there will be an inner circle as relates to Sark's receivers, right? It's like no matter how many running backs and receivers that he has, he's going to have his top receiver who's going to be, his 1,000-yard guy, the same way he's going to have his top running back who's going to get all the carries and be the 1,000-yard back. They'll have the other people that fill in. But we're not going to see the Tom Herman days of having 8 guys who caught passes in a game. Like, that's just not Sark. That's not what he does. I think he likes to get into a rhythm. I think he likes to play chess rather, with some of the opponents, and he wants to make sure we can do certain things. So it does sound like it. We know who's on the love list, the inner circle list, right? We know it's Isaiah Bond. We know they love Ryan Wingo, right? And we're going to hear more. We're going to hear more Ryan Wingo as camp goes on, right? We know Silas Bolden's coming on. We know Jonte obviously is in the midst. Like, we can go down the list of the guys that we know that they really like, and there's going to be some guys on the outside looking in. The best thing they can do for those guys, Catch, all goes well, get big leads and let these guys be able to play against Colorado State, UTSA, La Monroe. I'm leaving out Michigan because obviously that should be a close game. But if you can get them some love in the first 3 games, that might be enough. And then if not, if he loses them, so be it. But yeah, 9 sounds a little bit optimistic.
7 sounded optimistic. Again,
true.
I really think they're trying to make. Realistically, I think they've got 6. And we talked about in the spring, realistically, it looked like 5. And that felt like a lot because there were days when Matthew Golden was the best receiver on campus. And we reported this. You reported this during the spring. But then there were other times where Matthew Golden had a hard time getting reps. Jonte Cook is a really fascinating player. I feel like the populace is expecting Jonte Cook to be a star this season. And I understand why. 5-star wide receiver. He plays enough last season that you feel like he's the guy that's stepping up. And yet I don't think he's stepped up. And not as much as the coaches would have liked. It's not like – I think the 2 guys inside the Holy Trinity are Bond and Ryan Wingo. You mentioned it. Those are the 2 guys. Look, we know they love Wingo, and we know that they targeted Bond over and over and over. And they targeted him in the spring game like he really freaking mattered. And you know what? He's going to get all of the targets now because through hook or crook, that guy's going to be on the field for us. And look, he's getting first-round projections in some cases. He's also second team preseason all SEC. There's a level of expectation that makes you think, well, that guy's just going to be there. Silas Bolden is here to take someone's job. And he didn't come here from Oregon State as essentially their best player on offense to be running with the 2s with Matthew Golden and isn't it great to be a Texas Longhorn? Isn't Austin fun? Isn't it cool to isn't NIL badass here? He did not come here for that. He came here with 1 year left of football in his life. If it doesn't go well, he's trying to prove to NFL scouts, I'm that guy. I'm going to play on Sundays. And the only way you do that is if you start. You can't be an undersized backup and expect to have a prominent role in the NFL, to be drafted, to maybe even get on a roster invited. Maybe you could be this year's Keelan Robinson. But in general, That guy's trying to open up eyeballs. Well, look, man, we know Bolden's going to, or we know that Isaiah Bond's going to play. We know that Ryan Wingo is going to play a lot. If those two guys are playing a lot, that's 2 of the 3 wide receiver positions pretty steadily being used by those 2 guys. The expectation has been that Jonte Cook would absolutely, no doubt about it, be the other outside wide receiver. And as I enter camp, I'm more confident that Silas Bolden will play more than I am about Jonte Cook. And I think that will shock some people, but I think it's the truth. And I think that everything that you and I heard in the last couple of months about what's taken place in off-season workouts, Bolden's name has been ringing louder than Jonte Cook's. So I think that for me, starting today, it's how those guys line up, how they're used, who's playing ahead of the other. It's fascinating theater on the 40 acres.
Can we do one more catch before you get out of here?
Yes.
One more topic. I want to be just kind of on the record a little bit to say, and it'll be something that we don't have to spend a lot of time on, but I'm a little concerned about the punting situation. I'm a little concerned about handing the reins over to a true freshman. I know Jeff Banks talked up like the physical build of him. It said he played at St. Thomas Aquinas and first and foremost, I'm from Florida. Okay. St. Thomas Aquinas. Yes. A very powerful program. Their high school stadium don't even match what these Texas stadiums look like. What a Florida high school football stadium looks like to one of these ISD monstrosities that are out here. He's never played in an environment quite like this. And there's a part that's just a little concerned because here's the thing about punting, Catch. You know this. Nobody ever notices them until they have to be noticed. Unless you're just Michael Dixon and you are 50 yards and 60 yards, but you notice the kicker and you notice how much you need a kicker when a kicker starts missing kicks. You're like, who the hell is this kicker out here? And you notice a punter when things go 10 yards, 15 yards, so on and so forth. I'll be watching him because I'm just a little concerned that what it looks like for a freshman, especially in some of these big time environments.
It's an unnecessary risk. They don't know what they have in that kid. And if you look at his comments, here's his quote. Well, anytime you're a true freshman in major college football, there's a transition period. So we've had a limited opportunity to work with this summer. This isn't a surprise. I have been beating the drum for months. Hey, man, go get a punter. Go get a punter. And look, if he beats out your transfer punter, that's a great problem to have. But at the very least, go into Ann Arbor because you may have to punt in that game. Proven. They were a better punting unit a year ago after going through the portal than they were in 2022 by 5 yards per punt. That's significant. Look, I don't think they're going to lose a game this year because of punting. In fact, I had a hard time looking at the schedule a year ago and say, boy, they wouldn't have won this game without badass punting. But, I don't understand it. I don't understand the risk. You had an extra scholarship. A blind man could see what was taking place. The punting was not good in the spring. It was not good in the spring game. To have the ability to do more and to not do it, that was a choice they made on purpose. And if it backfires, we'll know they could have done something. There were good punters in the portal. They didn't want to go after those guys. If they'd seen him in the spring and he was just dominating, okay, I still think it's a risk, but he's proven himself to a certain extent. He's completely unproven right now, and it's a concern. Is it the kind of thing that keeps this team from going 11-1? Instead, they're 10-2 or 9-3? No, it's not that. But is it in a game? In games that are often defined by small margins, could it pop up its ugly head at some point this season? Yeah. And it was completely unnecessary. They could have addressed this. They chose not to.
Yeah, and I think Mark makes a good point to a certain degree, but I'll just kind of use it a little bit. If that guy, he also made me have the guy that has to hold on field goals too, Catch. And as you know, that ain't the easiest thing to do as well, you know, and to be able to do that in high pressures kind of situation. So what's remains to be seen. Catch, one more time. I'm going to put this promo out there. Join Orangebloods today. 60 days for free. If you don't like it after 60 days, tell us to kick rocks. You don't want to be a part of it. You're good. We're doing the promo because we think after 60 days, you're not going to like it. You're going to love it. Give us a try. Give us a chance. Try it out for free. You literally have nothing to lose if you try it out for free. Go from being a casual observer to hardcore fan. Sign up for Orangebloods today and use that promo code JOINOB24. Speaking of one more thing, too, I didn't get a chance to do this a little bit earlier, but I also want to make sure I do this real quick. Catch. Eric Sells Homes, DFW. Our main man, El Presidente, was in the chat. Nearly 200 of you guys. So let's get 200 likes if possible. If you're looking for a home in the DFW area, you don't have to look any further than our main man, Eric Sells Homes. Buying and selling made easy. Looking to buy a home, looking to sell a home, whatever it is, don't get taken advantage of. He'll hook you up. He'll take care of you. You let him know your favorite Ugg sent you. Eric Sells Homes, DFW. And if you aren't in the DFW area but know some people who are, pass this information along. Never know when someone's trying to buy or sell a home. Eric Sells Homes, DFW. Catch, you are back. You'll be back at noon today.
Yes.
Catch will be back at noon today, back in the saddle, back in the house. Hopefully the internet stays up for my man, because woo, it's been.
You need to quit talking because you're talking a jinx into existence.
This is not fantasy football. Oh,
yes, it is. My internet has been down almost yesterday's first day. It didn't go down in 3 weeks. So you'll forgive me if I'm touchy about the internet.
By the way, real quick, Alex asked me a buy or sell question about this a week or so ago. I told him I believed you. He said he did not believe you. Are you playing fantasy football this season?
I'm not. I'm not. Now, I have not had any of you. We need to go because there's the recruiting hour scheduled for 10 o'clock.
Oh, my bad.
But no, yeah. I'm not.
Okay, let's get out of here, you guys. Recruiting hour is coming up next. I forgot about them. I need to get the heck out of here. I got practice. We'll have all kinds of things. Make sure you check out Orangebloods.